Hello there, today I'm going to be trying out two different crochet tips, one for amigurumi and one for regular crochet, and I'm really curious to see how they work and if they work as good as it looks. So let's get started. The first one is, sometimes in amigurumi when you begin a pattern, especially if you're using fuzzy yarn, then you get this little pointy shape on top instead of it being flat. So the tip is to skip that first row, which here I had a magic circle and 6 single crochets into the magic circle, and basically make the next row, which would be 12, since the next row is 6 increases around, so 12 stitches into the magic circle instead of 6. So that's what I'm going to try to do and see if it'll make a flatter round. So I'm going to use the other end of this piece of yarn. Where is it? Here we go. And I'm going to start with a magic circle. Now I'm going to make 12 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 11, and 12. Now I'll close the circle. It does look a bit like overwhelmed here with all the stitches, but I'm going to trust the process and continue on for a few more rows. And I am going to use a stitch marker to keep track. So now I guess I continue with the next increase row, which would be 1 single crochet and then an increase. So 1, 1 and 2, 1, 1 and 1 and 2. Okay, so I finished that second round. It still looks a bit like crumpled up around. It's not exactly flat around, but I am going to try one more row and see if that straightens it out. So now it's going to be 2 single crochet and then an increase. 1, 2, and increase. So after finishing that third round, it did straighten out that like ruffled look, but it does look very similar to the result I would get if I would start with 8 single crochets and then continue on to increase to 16, etc. But I imagine if you have a pattern that starts with 6, then this hack might work, although afterwards you will be missing a row, so you'll have to see how to handle that. But in general, it does work to make a much flatter round. Here we can see the side-by-side difference. It does come out much flatter, although I don't see it being too useful for the rest of the pattern, because then you're going to have to add an extra row or something, and I'm not sure how you would adapt that. Also, I noticed that it's very hard to get rid of that tiny little hole in the middle, since there's so many stitches in the first row in the magic circle. So, and I don't want to pull too tight, too strong, so that it shouldn't break. You could close it up pretty much, but with 6 single crochets into the magic circle, I managed to close it up much easier and much better. So it does have its advantages, which is that it's much more flatter, and it does have disadvantages, but I would say all in all, it's a thumbs up. For the second tip, it's for when you're doing double crochet on back and forth, so a flat panel for a sweater or something. It's how you go up a row. So let me just get a little row started over here. So now I'm at the end of the row, ready to start the next one, and the tip is that instead of making 3 chains or 2 chains, whichever you do, to consider that first double crochet, and then it makes the rows not so flat on the side, you make a, I think it's called extended single crochet. So basically you make 1 single crochet, and then you have here these 2 loops. So you go into the second loop and make another single crochet. And that brings you up to the height of the double crochet so that you can continue stitching, and it's more sturdy and strong than a 3 chain. Here I'm at the next row, so single crochet and then one into the second loop. So far it's keeping up very nicely, much neater, and you don't have that hole of that first chain. A lot of times you get like a big hole over there, and here it pretty much looks just like the other stitches on the row. So let's do it one more. Okay, so this is keeping up really nice. I really like this tip. It makes it look so much neater on the sides. It also makes it flat and also makes it match the rest of the stitches on the row. I don't see any downsides on this tip, so this one is a definite big thumbs up from me. Thank you for watching and see you next time.